Hey, today I'm going to present you the usage of NSArrayController and its binding means how can we do the binding between the core data or the database and the table that we have to display the data. So it's a very cool feature that is provided by Mac OS. So you don't need to care about the things like once you add a new entry uh, in your presentation controller and that would get reflected in the different windows, so it will do it automatically if you bind the NSArrayController with your table and with your database. So I'm going to create a demonstrative project for that, so let me do it. Yeah, so actually I already have a project. So in this project, two basic things that I have added already is like one main uh, window, that is this. I name it like the student list, and the second is the basically the detail screen from where I can add more entries, like this is the student detail window. So here we have two fields, one is the student age and one is the student name. So you can just add or edit the things over here, and once you press the OK button, that will get reflected in your database, plus in your next screen that is showing the list of your all the students. So for this, prior to this, I need to mention one more thing is like I have added a uh, model class in this, and I have one entity over here, that is the student. So this is the student class that I have created. So the very first thing that you need to care about is like this is your uh, main menu .xib. So first thing is like this is the default window, that is once you created the project, then in your main menu one window should be the default window. So this window is that default window. So what you need to take care about is you need to add an object, that is an object uh, over here, change its name to student list window, and you have to check one thing is like uh, once you come over student list and go to its outlets and referencing outlets, then you need to match this or bind this window with student list window with this. Otherwise that would be matched with this files owner, so we don't need to take care, we don't need that. So that's why I bind it with this student list window. So actually why I did is because I need to control this student list attributes like uh, table views and all that stuff that we have in it by this NS window, student list window. So this is .h.m class of this thing. Now the second thing is you have to add one more class or one more window, that is the student detail window, or you can say it's a window where you can edit the student details. So it is something like this, okay. And so these are basically the outlets, the student age and the student name. And this is the OK press functionality. Once we press the OK over there, then we have to make an entity, or we have to change in the entity, and we have to make save in our context. So this is that stuff. So now we are going to add the NSArrayController in that and bind it with our table plus with the our core data database. So it's a very interesting thing to add it, so let me do it just now. So we are here, that is array controller. So I'm going to add this in my project objects, that is array controller. So there are few steps that you need to take care from here onwards. So one step is like you have to make an IB outlet of this array controller in your class, that is the student list window. So or first thing you can do, you can change its name first, and that resembles more meaningful, like student list controller. Yeah, so we are here, student list controller. Now you have to come to its bindings, and there is a parameters manage object context. So now in my case, manage object context is in my app delegate class, so I'm going to bind that context with my array controller. So what I need to do, I need to go to app delegate, and I just need to set here manage object context. Okay, that's fine, that's done. So it's bind with our context right now. So yeah, its name also gets changed, fine. So one more thing is, like in the attributes, you have to change this mode to the entity name, and you have to mention the entity name or the class name of the database that you would like to bind with this array controller. So in our case, I'm going to bind it with the student. So this is done. So make sure the spelling should be the correct, because it will not show you the autofill here. Okay, so now it's fine, it's a student. Okay, so we have done three things now. First of all, we change its name, then we make its binding with a manage object context, and the third thing is I make the change over here, that is the entity name, and the you have to mention the entity name, that is the student in our case, right? So it's done for this window. Now, so you have to make an IB outlet for this, so that you can control it, this array controller, from your code. So I have created a one in my student list window, that is IB outlet NSArrayController array controller object. So I just need to bind it from here. So once I click on this and double click, or you can say double finger tap, and this is the new referencing outlet, and I binded it. That's fine. So right now the situation should be like this. Yeah, so we are here now. What we have done yet is, like my NSArray controller is binded with my manage object context, and I have a reference of that array controller in my class, that is the student list window. Now once I came over here, is like we are I have a table view in this window. So I have two columns in that is the student name and the student age. So let's comes to the student name first. Make sure this hierarchy, that in the student name column you don't have anything else, because sometimes you might feel some problem over here. So please make sure that there should be things like text cell, none more than that. So student name. Okay, now we are going to bind this entries with our NS array controller. So student name, once you came to the binding, you can see over here is like bind to student list controller, that's cool. If it's not showing here, then you have to change it to the student list controller. Now the model key path is the name of the class, is the name of the means attribute that you have in your database class. Like in my case it is name, so it's showing here, cool. In the same thing you have to do it in the student age as well. So just bind it to the NSArray controller, and you have to make change in the model key path as well. So the model key path, I have the attribute is name, like age. Yeah, it's showing, it's pretty cool. So these are showing the autofill for you. Okay, so now we are done with two things. NSArray controller is bind with my manage object context, and I have a reference of that controller in my class, and I have bind my attributes that I need to show in the window with this that NSArray controller, right? So we are done with this. So now what thing we have, like I have two buttons over here, you can see there's the plus and minus. So I have created an IBR actions for these two buttons to perform the addition and the deletion of the data. So what I have is here, like I have two actions, that is the add student and the delete student. That's fine. So in the add student you can see this is the basically the student detail is the object of the class that you need to open once you click on add or on add button. So I have weak reference of this class is student detail window over here. So what I am doing here is like just create an object from it using the nib name, and is new event is basically a boolean that I have taken in my class, that is student detail window. So it's for like because in this application you can make two things: either you can edit the already existed result, already existed student, or you can create a new one. So this is basically when you come here in this class detail, and okay, once you come over here, so once you pressed OK over there, then you need to make a check that it's a new student or it's a already existed student. So if it's new student, then you have to create a new entity for this, and if it's the existing one, then you have to make changes in that itself. After that you have to save the context. So this flag is for that purpose only, so doesn't big deal for it. So we are here, yeah. So I have said is a student new student, yes, because I am going to add a new student, and then is I am going to show the window of the student detail. That's here fine up to okay. So one more thing is that this is the my student list table view that you can see over here. This one, this is my student table view. So once I click here, it's like okay, here awake from neighbor. So I what I'm doing here is just it's for the to edit the existing result. So on double click student, I have added a double action on that, and here what I'm checking is like array controller object selected objects, means this is the NS array controller that we bind with this. So we are just checking that if we have any selected objects or not. So if we have any selected objects, I'm going to select first from that, and I am just passing over here a student detail. My student object is that array controller selected object of first object, and then I'm just going to show the window. So this student object is also an attribute in my this class is like here. So this is the same as the student class that I have created in my model. So we are done with this. So and okay, now I think so far so good. We are here, and let me check one more thing is like it name is here student. Actually this entity name is gone sometime, so you need to check the exceptions. If it's throwing some exceptions in your window once you run the application, then you need to check whether it's not showing the entity name should not be null, because sometimes I also face this issue. So once I move from there, that entity name will get removed itself. So okay, let me run it for you or check if it's working or not. Yeah, so we are here. Okay, this is the first class. Okay, is it showing some exceptions? No, it's not showing any exceptions. So we are, yeah, prepares content also. Please click this part also. Okay, now let me check one more thing is bindable. Yeah, it's bindable over here. That's fine. This is also fine. Okay, IB outlet is also fine. We are here. IB outlet is also fine. And this part, table view, student name, and it's binding. Yeah, we are here. Student list controller, perfect name, right? No problem. Same case we have over here. Okay, just clean it and run it. Yeah, so I already have a result in that. That is the in my database. So this is showing that, or I can add new more as well. Let's say I'm added this person more. Let it be 21, right? Okay, cool. It's get just reflected in a moment in your table as well. So let me do it again. Suppose I'm going to add one more thing is like okay, and this is should be like let's say 20, and it's oh, it's showing very nice. Or I can delete as well, because for delete yeah, one thing that you need to care about is like in the delete function, if you're going to delete any object, that you have to delete it from the context as well. So let me do it, or let me check if I have implemented it or not. Yeah, so I'm not implemented it yet. That is the deleted student. So this is basically the IB action of this button. So I'm going to do it right now. So we are here. So it's just make to sure. Okay, I need to make a check over here that if array controller object selected objects go first object should not be equal to nil. If it's not nil, then we are going to delete it. For delete, I need to make a reference of this appdelegate dot manage object context delete object, sorry, delete object delete single object, and my object is array controller object selected objects का first object. Okay, there might be some problem. Let me control this. Yeah, we are done. So after that I need to make a change. I need to save my context as well. So app delegate dot manage object context save, or I can create an error, NSArray, let it be error. Okay, let's pass it reference over here. Yeah, we are done. So now I have saved, I have delete that object from my context, from my uh, array controller as well. So I'm just run it again. Yeah, so we are here. So let's say I'm going to delete this. Now it's get deleted. Let's say I'm going to delete this. It's get deleted. And if I run it again, yeah, it's showing, because all the things that I have deleted is and I have also saved my the context as well. So things are just in sync with my table and with my database. So let's say if I'm going to add one more again. Let's say the age is 26. Fine. Yeah, it's showing. That's running perfect. So In this way you can just bind the things. You don't need to care about, or you don't need to maintain a table view, delegate data source and all that stuff. And you don't need to make changes once, let's say in our case, once I move from one window to another to edit the things, and once I save over here and press the OK button, then in that case all the things will get reflected itself in my previous window also. So one more thing that I would like to show you here is like, in case of the detail window, what I'm doing in OK press button. So this button is basically this button. Once I click on that, then what I'm doing over here is just like, this is the context reference that I'm getting from my app delegate. So this is basically a macro that I have created over here. So if this is the new student, so what I'm doing here, I'm just creating a new entity. That's the new entity I'm creating over here, and I'm assigning the values to its field, to its attribute. And after that, else, if it's not a new student, that I'm going to change the things in the same object, self.student object.name, and this is I'm getting from the user. So after that, what I need, I'm just saving the context over here, saving to database, and this is the close window. So this is the coding part that I'm doing right now. So I think you will get the things how can be done by using the bindings, how we bind the things in Mac OS applications. So this is a very good features that is provided by Mac OS SDK. Thanks very much for listening me. Goodbye, take care.